All right, ladies and gentlemen, fellow coders, welcome to this next lesson in the FreshVotes series where we are building a real-world Java web app from scratch, leveraging new technologies such as Spring Boot, etc., etc. You've heard the intro before. So in this particular lesson, we're going to be diving into what I've been promising for a little while now, which has been Thymeleaf Fragments, which I call templates, but that word is sort of taken because you already have templates, which are just HTML files that make use of the Thymeleaf sort of syntax. But anyway, fragments are essentially a way to take any code, any HTML code that, or even JavaScript code that occurs frequently across many pages, many views, and allow them to sort of be stored in one place, such that if you need to make a change, you only have to make that change in one place, and then it will be reflected across multiple pages. So really, the use case here is we're talking about headers and footers, more or less, and any other sort of commonly used elements or anything that you bundle together that would be used across several views. So that's what are known as fragments inside of the Thymeleaf, culture, if you will. So let me show you what I've got going on here. So basically what I kind of want to do here, in the previous video I'd made mention of creating sort of a header, a global header that we could put everywhere. First I want to start with just getting a fragment in place for the common imports that we do, like the Bootstrap, CSS, some JavaScript, so scripts and whatnot. I want to get that in place first, and then potentially, I don't know if we'll have time, but because I'm going to have to explain a lot about fragments, probably in the next video, we're actually going to get to the meat and potatoes of building out a header sort of for every page from a visual standpoint. Anyway, let's get started with the basics. So as you can see, on more or less every page, I have a style sheet, which includes the Bootstrap style, so the CSS for Bootstrap. We see that on the index, we see it on the dashboard, we probably see it on the login, on the product page. So you see everywhere we have Bootstrap. We pretty much have it on every HTML view. Yes, we do. And it's annoying to have it copy pasted everywhere, because let's say we want to update the version of Bootstrap. Well, then we need to change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different files, right? That's annoying. We'd rather change it in one place. Now, typically there's a lot more than just one line of code that's copy pasted across multiple views. Typically jQuery, if you use that a lot, is copy pasted or could be potentially copy pasted across many views. So it's not just one line of code. Typically it's many lines of code that are included inside of the fragment. In any case, here's what you do. I go into, do I go into templates? It's funny, I haven't done this in a while. So I think fragments have to exist inside of templates because it has to be accessible from all the other views. So let's create a sort of nested folder structure here. We'll create another folder called Fragments. You don't have to call it Fragments, at least I don't believe you do, but I call it Fragments just because it helps me remember what these things are called, so that if I need to Google something about Thymeleaf Fragments, I can remember based on the name of the folder, because like I said, I usually call them templates. So we're going to create a header.html file. Again, these are just plain old HTML files. There's nothing really that special about them. They will still have the doc types, although I typically like to make this capitalized for no particular reason. So these are just plain old HTML documents, nothing fancy about them. We'll have a head and a body to these documents. I don't think we'll have anything in the head section. I don't believe I'm going to put it in the head section. I'm going to put it in the body. So in the body, we are going to have the sort of the code that's going to be included inside of other files headers. And basically what we want to do to make this happen is to bring in, XML namespace is Thymeleaf. So we need to bring this in as we have for all the other pages, thymeleaf.org. And then within this div is essentially what we are going to be copy pasting into all the other files. Essentially what's going to be replacing, kind of like I said, a template, but it's called a fragment. We're going to be taking what's inside of this div, you know, these are the contents that will be placed across several other views as a part of the, you know, fragment architecture that Thymeleaf provides. Okay, so and the reason why I'm doing this is because this actually will be replaced with something else. But anyway, inside of the div, we are going to have a th called fragment. Okay, so this essentially is going to say, hey, this piece of code here is a fragment that we're going to be placing in other places. And actually, I just realized this, you can ignore my previous statement. This will be included. This is the wrong place to type this. Let me make it a comment. There we go. And I'll show you what I mean by what I just did there in a moment. So the fragment here, you can call it whatever you like. This is, you have to assign a name to it. I'm going to call this, I would like to call it header, but because the name of the file is header, that's going to be a little bit misleading. So let me call this the, what would be a good name? Let's call it header element. And then I'll rename it back to header after I've shown you what it is that I need to show you. So we'll call this header element, and within this we will have the sort of the contents that we would like to include across all the other pages, which in our examples that we have seen, it is the link code here. So I'm going to copy paste all of this code, which is the Bootstrap stuff, and I'm going to paste it inside of my fragment. Now I realize a link at this point is not typically where you put a CSS document. Usually it's inside the head, but anyway, we'll make use of it as it is right here. And then, since that's really the only thing that we want to include, that'll suffice for now. But this is essentially the header, right? This code right here is what will be distributed across all of our files. So now, how do we do that? How do we actually take this code and copy paste it into all the other places without, you know, having the whole copy paste problem that we have here? So it's still, I mean, still not essentially a wonderfully perfect solution, because we still need to have some sort of code inside of all the other HTML files. Some other frameworks externalize this and put it in like an XML file, and the XML file is where you define where everything will point and go. In the case of Thymeleaf, we just embed it directly into the HTML file. But the way I look at it is, you're going to have to put this code somewhere, whether it's in a single XML file or distributed across all the other files. You know, pick or choose your poison there. So Thymeleaf went with the poison of putting it right into your HTML files. So how do we do this? Well, inside of our head, you're gonna have to have some sort of an HTML element here that will be housing the contents that you are pulling from the fragment. So, you know, you can call it whatever you like. You could call it a div, which again, putting a div in a head element is kind of weird. So that's why I choose typically a different element that will be replaced, that sort of matches what is a valid element. So essentially what I'm saying is, you could choose a script tag, because you're allowed to have a script tag in the head. You see, there's no warning anymore. But really, it doesn't matter what you choose, because what I'm going to be using is something called replace, which is going to essentially, well, actually, there's replace, and then there's another piece of code, and I've forgotten it off the top of my head now. It's been a while since I've done this. Thymeleaf fragment replace element, because what we want to do is you want to actually replace the entire element that we are copy pasting into. There we go, remove tag. I knew there is. Okay, so I'll show you what this remove means and why it's important by not including it in the first place. So there's two ways to do this. One way is to use replace. The other way is to use include. Okay, and I will show you replace because that's typically what I do, which will replace anything inside of here, right? So if I said this stuff will be replaced by our fragment, right? And I give it a comment. And then here I will have essentially the reference to the template that, or sorry, the fragment that we're bringing in. Okay, and this is sort of where things get a little bit special. So the way, the syntax that they use is to give you the folder location of the file, so the path to the file, which is essentially fragments and then header. And if I remember correctly, fragments / header is how we do that. And then we use a double colon, which is, again, strange sort of syntax. We haven't really seen that before, but hey, that's what they choose. And then you want the name that represents the fragment that we used inside of the fragment file, okay, the header.html, which we named thfragment with header element. So you take that name and we place it into the threplace statement. So we have sort of the location of the HTML file, the location of the fragment, and then the name of the particular fragment element, I guess you could call it, that you're going to be using and injecting into your page, okay? So then we can essentially copy paste this across all of our files. So let me just copy paste it into, let's say, the index.html. So we will, again, we'll get rid of our bootstrap code here. So I'm going to delete it and paste in my sort of script tag. Oh, and it's underlining this in yellow because it doesn't know what threplace means, so we need to bring in the XML namespace for Thymeleaf and point it to thymeleaf.org so it can resolve what the heck that means. Okay. So now, I don't know if I need to reboot or not. Let's just try and see if we can access the localhost 8080 and not have anything go awry. So if I look at the source code, look what happens here. So the head has a div now. It has the comments that I had typed in that said that these comments will be replaced, which actually is a false statement. And I promised you that I'd show you that that was a false statement. But then we have our link to our style sheet to bootstrap.min. So even though we've deleted the bootstrap, there is no bootstrap import here, if you will, and there's no link element that points to bootstrap anymore. It's still in there, okay? And it's still in there because this div element that's here represents the stuff in the header.html file. Okay, and I can prove that by going back to the header.html file, and I'm going to delete this comment because this is not a true comment anymore. Really, this comment I should cut out, and I should paste it into here, right? That's a better statement to put it here. These are contents that we are, placed, well, I guess not across. I guess the other comment is better. This stuff will be replaced by our fragment. That is an accurate statement now. So let me go back and refresh, and you'll see that the comments that I had previously will disappear. There you go. They're gone, right? Because we deleted them from the fragment file, the header.html, right? Here. So the header.html doesn't have that anymore. But if you look at our code, we have a div inside of the head element, which is not cool. This is not, well, we don't want a div inside of our head. What are you talking about? That's strange. So basically, the way around that is, the reason why it's happening is because this is a div, right? This div thfragment is here. If I replace this div with like a p tag or something, if I replace it with a p tag, come on now, work with me here. A p tag and refreshed, that div would turn into a p. So regardless, it doesn't matter what tag you want to use here, what element you want to use, it's not going to go in properly, right? You can't fit. You just don't want it to be there at all. You don't want to have any element wrapping it, but you're stuck using an element here because you have to include it with this, the thfragment, right? So it's kind of a catch-22, like what's going on. So then you might want to take this thfragment and put it in here, right? Because then that maybe might work, but that's not valid. You don't want, that would be. That wouldn't work especially if you had many different things that you want to put inside of here. Like for instance, if you want to have another thing that you're bringing in, like a script tag or something like that, right? Then you'd have to put the fragment on both of these things. Then that wouldn't be valid. So anyway, what's the solution here? Let me get rid of the script tag. The solution is to use what I just Googled previously, which was not only th replace, but also th remove, and then you put tag, right? So you're saying, not only do I want to replace the stuff that's in here with my header element stuff, or fragment stuff, but I also want to remove the tag that surrounds or wraps all the stuff that will be in here, right? In other words, it's saying delete, oh, where'd it go? In other words, it's saying delete this tag completely, okay? So what you'll see is now that I've done the th, where'd it go? Now that I've done the th remove tag prerogative, or, you know, attribute, whatever you want to call it, we can go back to our file here, and hopefully, if all goes well, when I refresh, this p tag that is wrapping the contents will disappear. Okay, let's cross our fingers. Refresh. I failed. Why didn't that work? Header. Oh, I guess maybe what I need to do is put th remove tag here. Is that my fail? That was my fail. Let me go back to index and try that. Th remove. There we go. So I had to include it, my apologies, on the fragment. Here you go. There's so many moving parts to this, but, you know, trial and error, my friends. So there you go. It removes the wrapping tag around this stuff. So that kind of makes more sense. The th remove tag should be placed here because we're removing the p tag. Anyway, there you go. So that's how you bring that in. And then all you need to do is copy paste, like I said, the where'd it go? In the index file, this stuff. I'm going to also remove that this stuff will be replaced by our fragment. And I'm going to make it one-liner. And I'm going to copy paste this into all of our files. Whoops, I don't want to copy the head. There we go. And dashboard index login. There, and product, we've already done it. Let me just get rid of the noise in the middle. Products page, boom. And the register page, we get rid of the bootstrap, boom. Okay, so now if all goes well, all of these pages will, so if I click login, we will see inside of our sources, there it is, right? This is our bootstrap code is inside of the login page. If we then log into the, oh right, ASDF is my password here. There we go. We log into the dashboard page, then the dashboard also has it. You see all these files, you can tell that it has it properly because there's a slight indentation, which you can't get rid of the white space, I guess, that we have from the wrapping, whatever tag we use, p tag or whatever. But that's how that's a hint that I can see that it's working. If I go to product number 1, we can see here, product number 1, boom. Oh, look at this, it's happening twice. So did I mess up in the product page? Yes, I did. You see, I left the bootstrap min.css on the product page. So you see it's appearing twice, which is not good. We want to get rid of the bootstrap import or link. Did I mess up anywhere else? Header, let's find out, I guess. What other pages are there? I think that's pretty much all the pages, right? I believe so. So there you go. That's how we do that. And again, now if in the future I want to, let's say I want to include, where is it? jQuery. I want to take jQuery and I want to include jQuery on every single page. Because right now it's only on the register page. Let me remove it from the register page and then let me put it into the header file, right? So I'll put it inside of our fragment, our header element fragment, right? So I'll save this inside of our header HTML page. Now every single page, I just changed one what do we call it, file, one line in one file. And if I go back and let's say refresh the dashboard, because previously it was on the register page, if I refresh the dashboard, we will see now the dashboard has jQuery. And if I log out, the login page has jQuery, right? And if you go to the index page, the home page now has jQuery. So that's where this becomes very powerful, right? You change one file in one place and boom, it propagates to all files. So it makes life a lot easier if you want to like upgrade a version here or there or anywhere, or obviously if you just want to include, you know, more of anything, more scripts, a global script or whatever, you can put it into here. And the next helpful thing is to take things one step further and start doing stuff with visual things, like including an actual header banner visually on every single page. And of course, that's what I promised you guys that I would be doing in this video. I'm apparently breaking that promise, and I'm going to do that in the next video. So in the next video, we're going to see, I'll build out a little header in Bootstrap, and then we will hook that into our, as a fragment, and I'll show you how to make all that work together. So very good. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below. I know this one was a bit dicey in terms of the delivery of this video. My apologies. I should have done a lot more research. But hey, this is what these the series is all about. This is about me coming in as unprepared as ever and showing you how a real programmer has to deal with these situations. Because if I'd done an hour of research, then you would have seen me pop this stuff off like it was my job. You know, there's a little joke for you. It is my job. So this way you see how a real programmer goes and does his research and tries to figure stuff out and works through bugs and solves them in, you know, quote unquote real time. So anyway, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you really enjoy this content, obviously I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. If you are watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe. You'll get notified of all my future videos in this series and more. And if you just want nothing more than just click like or even dislike if you didn't like this, I invite you to do so as well. This is YouTube. This is how people spread the word about their videos. So if you like me, like the channel, please do that. It is a big help to us content creators. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. As always, take care of yourself. Happy learning, and bye for now.